This is a show put on by a group called New Dems. I'm Greg Landsman, a member of Congress from Ohio.
I'm Marc Veasey, Congressman for the 33rd Congressional District, Dallas-Fort Worth.
And we are going to do this show each time we fly in to lay out some of the big things that we're going to deal with in Congress. And sometimes we'll have guests, sometimes we won't. We'll also focus on the things that we've got to fix and how we're going to go about fixing it, because that is top of mind for just about everybody. All right, so before we jump in to what's going to happen this week, we're going to do a check-in on the economy. The economy is the most important thing.
Absolutely it is.
And so this week the check-in is the cost of eggs, and I'm told this is the average cost of eggs across the country.
Bro, this ain't even the organic prices.
How much do you think the organic eggs are?
Oh, the organic ones are definitely going for like 10 something.
$10?
Yeah, so these are just the eggs that like everybody buys.
So I saw on Fox or heard somebody saying, the price of eggs are so bad that people may have to just go get chickens. And I actually come from a district, I think you do too, where people do that.
Absolutely.
But that's not where they're getting their eggs. Like
no.
they may get some eggs, but they still want to go to the grocery store and buy cheaper eggs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There are a lot of people in the city that definitely are doing their own eggs, but most people want to go and buy their eggs at the local grocery store, right?
So what did Trump say? I heard he said something earlier, like as we were flying in, we all fly in from different parts of the country.
That's right. What did he said something.
The exact quote is, "Shut up about the price of eggs."
Who did he say?
Wow.
He said, "Shut up about the price of eggs."
About the price of eggs. Yeah.
Who did he say it to?
He was just talking
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter who he said.
Yeah.
Like that's how cavalier they have been about this economy.
Well, and he forgets too that, dude, that's why you got elected. Like people wanted you to lower the price of eggs.
They expected you to.
For him to be that cavalier about it is crazy.
All right, let's jump into it. Three big things this week. The biggest thing that we're going to do this week is potentially vote on what's called a continuing resolution. And the question is whether or not the Republicans have the vote or will there be a government shutdown?
Right, exactly. I don't want there to be a government shutdown. No one wants there to be a government shutdown. If there's a government shutdown, people need to understand that there is a Republican majority in the House and in the Senate. And if it's a shutdown, it's their fault. It has nothing to do at all with Democrats.
Republicans control the White House, they control the House, they control the Senate.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've been in Congress for how many years?
Oh, God, this is my seventh term.
Seventh term,
yeah.
So almost 14, 15 years?
Yeah, exactly.
And what happens most often is that you pass a budget, a full budget.
Right, exactly.
Right? And they have not done that.
They never do that. I'm not sure that that's ever been done with a Republican majority since I've been a member. They've always relied on continuing resolutions.
Do you think they'll have the votes?
I don't know if they'll have the votes. It seems like it's unlikely they'll have them in the Senate. But again, it's their job to make sure, being the legislative leaders, right? It's their job to make sure that with their majority that they work with us when they have to get things done.
Every time we've been able to pass anything, particularly government funding, we've always done it in a bipartisan way. So far, they have refused to work with us. They're trying to do this on their own.
Right.
So they've shut the government down.
Right.
What's the worst? I mean, what should people expect?
No, that's absolutely right. I mean, speaking of the fly-in, they've basically given us the bird and told us that, we ain't working with y'all, that we're going to pass this without any of y'all's votes, whether you like it or not. And so...
Which just sucks because, on a fly-in day, you leave your family, you get on the plane, you come here, you just want to get to work, and, we're in the minority now, so we're just waiting. We're waiting for them to say, we need your help, or... As you just said, you guys can go yourself. We're going to try to do this on our own.
Exactly. And I don't think that sometimes the public truly understands that.
You may want to cut it out. Cut it out. You can cut it out. Keep it. Yeah. It's up to you guys.
We'll decide later.
You decide later.
And sometimes sometimes the public doesn't understand that. When you're in the minority, you're reacting. And so are we being proactive with our own plans and our own ideas for budgets? Absolutely. But when it comes to what is going to be on that House floor on any given moment in time, they decide. Like, that is how the system works. When we were in charge, we decided. And so that is how it works. And so people need to have an understanding of that.
So let me ask you about their budget. Like, what is the budget plan that they're putting forward?
I'll tell you what I've seen is a lot of nothing. What really disturbs me the most, because they've already done so much to veterans. There have been so many stories about veterans,
I know.
1/3 of which are government employees that make up the federal payroll. But this budget zeroes out funding for Agent Orange, for the burn pits. It just completely just zeroes that out. And so it wasn't enough to insult veterans and say that, we're just going to randomly fire you for your job for no reason, even though you were doing a great job. They come back and tell these same veterans that your health care that we were working on that dealt with your service to our country abroad, we're just going to axe that and zero it out now.
Are you a no vote?
I'm a 100% no vote.
Reporters keep asking me, like, where am I? I'm like, I'm a hard no.
Yeah.
I'm a hard no because it's a status quo budget bill, which essentially says, look, all the chaos and corruption and the higher costs, this is let's keep all that in place, which obviously I don't want. I mean, what they're doing is saying we're going to pass something that allows this administration and our donors to continue to indiscriminately fire federal workers and add to unemployment. We're going to let them continue to gut federal programs and hurt our communities and families. Yeah. And we're going to let them continue to mess with veterans. I mean, this is the second big thing this week is they've already fired thousands and thousands of veterans, and they have said they may this week fire something like 70, 80,000 veterans.
Yeah, from the VA.
From the VA.
Right.
Or folks who are helping veterans. I mean, to me, this seems like it's going to backfire.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It already has. I mean, I know people back at home. We have a lot of federal jobs in Dallas and Fort Worth. And I know a lot of people back at home that were very supportive of the president. And now they feel like they were just sold a bag of worthless goods, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think, like, obviously the economy and the fact that, like, Trump has said, there may be a recession, which is just bananas that he would say that. And obviously the market, I think when we recorded this, it was down 1,000 points. That plus the fact that they've really gone after veterans, I think, is going to really undermine their position with voters. Yeah. The third big thing is the economy as it relates to the trade wars. I mean, he has backed away from some of the stuff with Mexico and Canada, but that has just caused even more chaos in the markets. I mean, what's your take? What's he gonna do next?
It's crazy. There's a clip that's going around right now of Ronald Wilson Reagan.
I know.
And you've probably seen this clip, and it's Reagan talking about trade and about how important trade with our allies is for the strength of America. And the fact that Trump is picking a fight with Mexico and Canada that have been longtime allies to us in North America just makes absolutely no sense. It's mimicking Putin.
I've never seen in my lifetime a president and a Congress enabling this president, Republican-controlled Congress, actively creating unemployment.
Yeah.
And actively driving up costs.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And when I think about the Republicans, during the State of the Union, they were doing, their USA deal. And I'm like, this man is basically telling Mr. Putin, put this wall back up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how in the world can you be so compliant when you see
it raises a lot of questions?
Absolutely, that Putin is trying to put the Iron Curtain back up.
So as we tackle these three big things, and this is a section that we'll try to do, which is at the heart of what I get asked a lot back home, and I know you do, which is like, how do we fix this? Like, what are the things that we're doing to fix this?
Yeah. What are the things that we're doing to fix this? Well, I'll tell you. New Dems, right? Like New Dems, we are the
and this is a New Dems podcast. We should say that.
Yeah, this is definitely a New Dems podcast. New Dems, we're the largest caucus within the Democratic caucus. We have 110 New Dems, and we're focused on the economy, safety, and national security. We're also working on trying to, work with the other caucuses within the Democratic caucus. The next largest caucus is the Progressive Caucus. We're the CPC. And so we've signed a joint letter with them letting the speaker know that we're going to be focused on these cuts that they're trying to make to Social Security, the cuts that Republicans are trying to make to Medicaid, and the cuts that reckless radical Republicans are trying to make to Social Security, that we're going to be focused on those. And that's something that CPC and New Dems are going to be working on together.
It's interesting because, like, not to cut you off, but like, I've gotten calls from reporters or texts that says, are Democrats on the same page? And the answer I gave, which I don't think they wanted to hear, was like, yeah. I mean, from a communications and policy standpoint, we're all on the same page, which is this budget reconciliation thing that they're trying to pursue, which is tax cuts for the wealthiest people in the world, paid for by cutting people's health care. Like, we are, whether you're New Dems or you're in the Progressive Caucus, wherever you are on the spectrum within the Democratic Caucus, we're 100% unified.
Yeah, that's right. We're 100% unified. And we're going to be sticking together on fighting this Republican, continuing resolution. It's not a budget. I hate to even call it a Republican budget. It's a continuing resolution. And they are trying to cut Medicaid, cut Social Security, cut Medicare, so they can give a bunch of rich guys, a bunch of oligarchs, a tax cut. And I'm not going to be for it.
Me neither. So let me tell you just real quick, what's your advice to folks about what they should do and what we should be doing?
What I've been telling people is, look, they're purposely trying to confuse the American public. Steve Bannon said it himself, who consults with Trump almost on a daily basis. He said, flood the zone. So make sure that you are focused on the topics that the American people, are following the most, whether it's tariffs, whether it's DOJ accessing your tax payments and your private medical records, and the way they're recklessly just firing veterans. Make sure that you keep your focus narrow and reach out to your member of Congress, your 2 U.S. senators, and the president, and let them know that this is not good for America. This is bad for America.
You're a member of Congress. Like, does calling your member of Congress work?
I think it absolutely works. People have been asking, hey, what's going on? What are y'all doing? Well, look at what Trump just did a few days ago. Trump brought in Musk and brought in the cabinet and said, you're in charge. Had y'all not been calling, had you not been reaching out to members of Congress, had members of Congress not been on their social media feeds, had New Dems not been on their social media feeds, Trump would not have done that. There's no way. Trump never likes to admit he's wrong. He brought them in and said that he's going to have to get rid of the hatchet and bring in a scalpel, and that the cabinet secretaries are in charge, not Musk, because you called and members of Congress that are Democrats made noise about the reckless and chaotic behavior.
All right, before we get out of here, a couple things. One is we want to hear from you. What'd you like? What'd you not like? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? And then follow us on our social media platforms. It's a good way to interact with us. Share your stories. Help us share ours.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let us know at New Dem Coalition. We're on Twitter. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Instagram. We want to hear from you. We want feedback. This is our first one, This is kind of a rough draft in many respects.
Very rough.
And we want to make sure we get it right.
All right, so we'll see you the next time we fly in.